So today on Project Shop, we are going to finally get on these big old generator rotors. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get the stators that came with these, but these did come in with that big blue motor. So we paid 35 cents a pound for these, which is a premium because of where we bought them down in Miami. But let's see if they were actually worth it, and you know what it's going to take to get the copper out. Now, we've done a bunch of these before. Typically, what we're going to do is cut one end off and try to free up, break the glue, break the shellac, and push them out. Now, we have to determine how we want to do this, because this has this big aluminum thing on here, and it's not just going to slide right off because of all this stuff. I don't even know how they got that on there. It's very interesting. That one's got a plastic one, which sucks because it's always nice to get a little bit of cast. Now these ends, okay, particularly this one here with all the plastic. This one I might be able to pull. Typically, I have to whack those off and cook them. And then we also got these. These are the exciters. This one here probably came with one of these. The other one's too small, but these down here are nice. Another nice little chunk. So we'll, these are easy to process. Pretty much you can just knock the copper straight down on these. Anytime I see these, I try to grab them. You know, that's just quick and easy money. So what we're going to do is just get these up on the table, and we're just going to start tearing into them. Once we get the copper out and all the bits, we'll weigh it up at the end to see if it was worth 35 cents a pound. Now obviously we should be buying these from the source at a cheaper price. And then, yeah, and also, I wound up, wait till you see what I got on the trailer. I wound up picking up from my first local customer out here. So we're already kind of making waves out here in the country. Actually, no, that's a second customer, because I did buy a stator from Dakota. So... but I bought a bunch from this other dude. So hopefully that turns into a steady thing. And, you know, we can get some more business. But for now, let's get these on the table and get this copper out of here. All right, we got them on the table. Now, first thing I'm going to do is try to pull these bearings out. Now, I will keep all the parts so we can wait. Now, a couple times in the past, I've actually whacked these things off and just sold them as an electric motor, because I don't think the copper is really, I don't know, we'll have to see. Like, if I cut that off and send that as a motor, would it have been more profitable to do that? We might do that in the future and just send it back to them. I don't know, but we're here to find out. So what I want to do is get the bearing off, and then I'm thinking about pushing this thing over to the cracker, because this thing does have a way to release this thing, but the problem is, and there's a little C-clip here, I don't see me getting this thing off. I don't know, let me take a look at that. Yeah, the way I've done these in the past is I just cracked this aluminum. Now I'm thinking I could just come down with that blade and just bust up the aluminum, you know, and get that out of there, because I don't see this. I mean, it might come off. I doubt it though. We can try. I need a bigger puller. I'm gonna have to invest in a much larger puller, something I could do these things with. That little Harbor Freight Special is just not going to get it. Barely gets these bearings. So now I gotta apologize in that last video for my camera placement. I had the camera up here, and then it wound up moving somehow. I did get a new magnetic base, and I am looking for my gantry. I'm going to put one here so I can do this table and shoot that way with the gantry. I just gotta find them. I know where one of them is. We got this one, but there's another one and the adapter I might just go ahead and pull this adapter off. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do that now. It's just for self-tappers, and I can self-tap it right to the thing, and I can get you guys some better shots. Oh, whoa, somebody's hiding copper. Oh no. Our holes are a little bit wide. I'm going to go ahead and drill a couple more holes a little further in so I can actually get a good bite on here. Sweet. High enough, it's up out of the way. You can go over here. Now I can add to this length, but I actually think I need to replace that one. She's holding on by a thread. But at least now I can put the gantry all over here, all the way over there, and it's out of the way. It'll be, yeah, we can get all the way over to there with that. Sweet. Sweet. That's a really nice bearing right there. Probably really, really expensive too. So now, I'm thinking let's crack this thing. That worked out nice. The only problem is too high. Get it in that crack. Ah, okay, let's see what happens. Sure took a big chunk out of it. Problem is, this blade is just too big. So that's one thing I'm gonna have to work on, is multiple different jigs to do different operations. What we can do is just come down on this thing and crush it and see what happens. Heck yeah, man, look at this. So still a little bit of work, but with the right setup, I mean, if I had a smaller blade, like not as wide, I could come down on this. It just blew, and it kind of made a mess, but I think that's the way to go, man. Rather than mess with all that stuff, if I could just crack that cast aluminum with the hydraulics, rather than beating it with a hammer. You know, a lot of people say, oh, like that big motor, oh, just beat it with a hammer. Well, I don't want to be sitting here swinging on stuff, man. I want hydraulic machine to put it on the table. I want the hydraulics to crack it with minimal. I just want to push the button. I don't want to fatigue myself by beating on stuff with a hammer, you know what I'm saying? So we need to get this dialed in to where we're moving this up. Like, here's the deal. If I plan on having this thing go up and down with hydraulics, like, and then keep these holes. That way I'll go up and down fast, rapid. I don't know how many tons it's going to be, but it's not going to be 100. But if I need the 100 ton, I'm going to leave that ram in there so I can always pin it real quick and then really put some beans to it. You know what I'm saying? Let me maneuver this around a little bit, see if I can't get another squeeze on this. Maybe if I can't get the squeeze on this side now that yeah, if I go up a little bit more, I think I can get on there. You can just crack the other side of this thing. Let's see. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ha 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 ha. Man, I love this press. I absolutely love this press. So that there, yeah, my blade's too wide, but if I could come down on that with something, I could just continue to crack it. What I'm gonna have to do is make another one of these blades. What I'll probably do is, even though I have that real expensive one that I made or I bought, I'll probably keep this as just a generic cracker. I mean, it worked. It busted that big thing open. It's mild steel. I don't know how long it's gonna last. This is interesting. This is oh, there's the other piece way over here. So we're definitely got to get some type of I thought about taking that. I got that hockey arena plexiglass made for high impact, and I'll have to make a shield that can be like flipped up out of the way somehow so that I can stand here and work. You know, I need to be doing this fast. And honestly, I think if the hydraulics were going faster and not building up slow pressure, if it just rammed right through and crushed it, I think it you know, it'd be better. So okay, now that that's pretty much out of the way, we need to work on this other end down here. I'm almost thinking about taking the torch and cutting that end off, because either way, I'm kind of getting hungry. Might have to stop and take a lunch break, even though we just got started. This has the metal rods here. I'll have to get the grinder and the air chisel. Either I'm going to use that big diamond blade and cut right through this, or we're going to use the air chisel. I haven't really decided yet. But what do you guys think about that aluminum being cracked? But you know what? If I turn that sideways, you know what? We're gonna try to continue to crack this. If I turn this sideways and just come in on that blade a little bit, I think I can get that off of there. I'm gonna have to bring this thing down a step. But I'm just wondering, I'm curious, man. I wanna get that off of there with the cracker. Woo! She's putting that pressure on it. I don't know if I want to be by this thing. Oh yeah. Oh, that's what I'm talking about, man. 100-ton press for the win, man. Now I will say, I've been using that 100-ton cylinder more and more, putting some real pressure. Like the other day when I thought that thing was like bypassing or not really moving, it was actually moving. That thing kicks into low gear. It is really low. That thing was moving slow, but it was moving and it wasn't even stopping. Okay, this originally was a 55-ton Ramco press, 110,000 pounds. Well, this is 100 tons, you know, so that's 200,000 pounds. We're gonna have to reinforce this a little bit to make this safe to use, because I plan on using that 100 tons. You know, we're gonna be breaking them big boys. We need all the pressure, you know what I'm saying? So we need to yeah, we need to figure something out. Probably plate this up a little bit more. I got some, pretty sure I got some 1/2-inch plate we can weld in there, weld another beam down in the middle or something, and then we're gonna have to reinforce this and bore all these holes again. Unfortunately, I'll have to figure out how that's gonna work. But yeah, we're gonna have an awesome press. If I can do what I want to do with this thing and have this travel up and down and keep that 100-ton in the middle, man, this thing's gonna crack them all, dude. Well, not all of them. There was that big motor I couldn't even fit in here, but for the most part, this thing's gonna crack them all. And eventually we might have to go bigger, so we're gonna need more. I think this is a 3-foot span. We need like 5 foot. Well, 5 foot of stroke, so we can accommodate all the motors. Okay, I'm super stoked about that. That was awesome. That really gives me hope for the future. Now what we can do is go ahead and bust out the air chisel. We're going to try the air chisel. We are going to have to cut these off. I'll hit them with the big grinder, knock them out of the way, because they're metal rods that go all the way through. And I'm still on the fence of whether I want to cut that end off, because if I don't cut the end off, then I got to definitely try to get that copper out while it's in here. And every one of these that I've done, like this looks like it might be doable. I might be able to grab that with the pincher if I cut that backside and pull it. This one I'm not too sure about, but we'll give it a shot before I cook it. You know, we don't want to cook things if we don't have to cook them. But I ain't against cooking stuff. You know how I like a good barbecue. Okay, let me get set up with the air chisel, the grinder, and some earplugs, and we'll get to work. Okay, so I don't know if the jaw is actually necessary for this one, but now we got a lot of copper, a couple little strands on the ground, but that's nothing. Well, I just have to be careful when we cut. Oh, man. That's a nice nugget right there. Okay. So we got options. The chisel, the air chisel, absolutely blasted through this. Now, I'm looking at this, how thin it is. I think in the future, what I actually need to do is separate that. I need to cut that off. And I think it's going to be a case-by-case basis, because this one over here looks like it has a lot more copper. This one, it looks like if I just torch the end of that off and sold it as an electric motor, I'd make out better. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually just cut that end off with the torch and see where we're at, because I think there's really not enough copper in there. And if I could sell that as a motor, it's really hard to tell. I wonder if I can get one of these sections all the way out, and I can count them and weigh it. Huh. It kind of gives me an idea of what's going on there. I just don't see it, man. Huh. And plus, with this out of the way, it's going to be a lot easier for me to cut these. And I can kind of just come right in. I can kind of come in on it now, but I really want this thing out of the way. Because this one here, I'm pretty sure, man, this is going to be a fight. And I'll just leave all that. I mean, I'll finish cutting that and I'll still send it. It's got copper in it. It is a stator. Heck yeah. That's sweet, man. power of hydraulics. Okay. There you have it. We got a nice prepared steel carcass and a big old knot of #2 copper. I'm gonna go get a bucket so we can put this in. I mean, we only lost like a couple little things down there, and then we'll weigh this and see if it's actually worth it or not. I mean, I'm looking at the copper content in there, and I think I'm just gonna send that. We'll pull that one there, right there. That's got a little bit more nuggets. We'll put it in the press here and use the hydraulics. But for now, I'm gonna go take lunch, and then we'll come back and weigh this stuff up. Okay, we're back from lunch. Dakota's over there offloading my trailer. You'll see that in another video. We're doing another massive scrap out over here. But I got this cool little doohickey from my CNC buddy. I don't know, I guess it's a jack, but I don't understand. I don't know, I'm kind of confused about it. It's got magnets on it, but I don't know. It's very interesting now. I think I'm going to keep it. And I found that's for a like a topper for a thing, but it's a cool little clamp. Continue to clamp something. You know, that stuff we'll put in the little keeper bucket. Anywho, let's get back to our copper. So I need to find a bucket for that. We're gonna do this one here. Now I am going to attempt to pull the copper out of this one. These nuggets are, this one's not as thick and it's got bigger nuggets. That one is really thick and it's got small nuggets. I don't think it's worth it. We're gonna weigh it up and find out. I might weigh it up, see what it's worth as is, and I still might even pull it out, see if I can't get that copper out of there to see if it's worth it or not. So in the future, I know, hey, don't mess with them. You know what I'm saying? Or we just, instead of cutting it off, you know, because I mean that took a little bit to cut that off. You know, we just get it out of it without cutting it off somehow. You know, whatever we got to do there. This next one's going to be interesting because it's the first time I've seen where they got Allen keys holding that down. Didn't necessarily, I mean, the jaw helped crack that glue for sure. Definitely helped crack the glue. That's like the hardest part. But these ones here, they're kind of small. Probably just a you know, just a chisel or a pry bar you can get in there and knock. I like the jaw because the hydraulics are just, you know. And I did that backwards from how I normally do it. I came straight in and was pushing in this way and opening up, and it was kind of kicking out. Now that I'm thinking about it, normally I come straight down in this way and run it out like that. We're going to try that on this one here. Either way, having a hydraulic spreader, okay, is a game changer, man. It just allows you to be much more versatile with what you're doing, and you know, really helps me like push the copper out. Y'all see me do those big rotors, way bigger than these. This thing here is a straight up game changer. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up. We'll get this off the table, get it ready for weighing, and we're gonna move right on to this one here. And yeah, I will say this, the diamond blade is a beast. What I love about it, steel, copper, aluminum, it don't matter, it just cuts through it like butter. It really is impressive. Now I would like to get one with a little bit more aggressive diamonds. I mean, these are pretty good, and keeping it in the steel actually helps, you know, keep it clean. Like keeps the aluminum and copper from gumming it up. But you know, it's doing its job. It's a beast. So definitely we got a whole arsenal of tools out here. I mean, we got the torch, the 7-inch grinder, the jaw, the air chisel. I mean, whatever it's going to take, we're going to get the copper out. We got the 100-ton press, you know, cracking. I mean, that was pretty impressive, cracking that aluminum off of there. So we're ramping up over here, because I talked to my dude in Miami, and they're pretty much going to sell me all their big motors. Once they get their hammer mill, they got 3 yards: their Miami yard, their Pompano yard, their Del Rey yard, and they're going to start moving everything to their Del Rey yard, and those guys are going to separate it. So, which is good. Right now, when I go to their yard, I got to peel through their bins to find the big motors. Now, they're going to do it. You know, and they can't put something that big in their machine. So, all the stuff like this, come to daddy. So this was the right way to do it, instead of coming in like this and open and coming that way, open it. But one thing I noticed, and this is the first time I noticed it, look at that right there. A lot of times these end plates and the lines going down here were always aluminum. This one's got a big copper plate. So once I get this out, we're going to take the air chisel and we're going to see if we can't relief that plate. In the past, I was able to get these long things to come out. I think if I cut one side with the grinder, I might be able to get it. Now, if it's too long, I might be able to just cut it down the middle here and then relief it. Now, sometimes there's pros and cons against, hold on, let me turn this off. Sometimes there's pros and cons against using the air chisel. The air chisel is great. It's fast, can get in there, tight spots, and cut it. The problem is, sometimes it will do stuff like this was, I don't know why that happened like that. I think because I was pushing on it with the hydraulic. But sometimes it'll mushroom things out and it won't stay together. With that cutter, you get nice clean cuts, and usually everything stays together. And for the most part, you can just pick up the big chunks. They stay together because they're glued. The air chisel, man, would have made a mess. You know, so sometimes, depending on what you're doing, it might be better to use that. Might be better to use the air chisel. It depends on your preference and the application. You know, that air chisel is walking right through the copper. And we're going to use it to try to get this plate out. But let me go ahead and finish knocking these out. These things are coming right out. These are nice, solid chunks of copper, man. So I'm really stoked about that. Oh yeah, that's the way to go. We just need faster hydraulics. All right. So, a couple things. One, you got to make sure you cut it all the way through there. Now, is it worth it? I don't know. We'll weigh that up and see how much extra we got out of there. Two, if I would have had more of a blunt, now that's really dull, but if that was really flat, I think I would have had a better chance of pushing without actually, because what I was doing is I was cutting into those layers, and if I would have just had something flat knocking in there, I think I could have got all them out. That was a nice little bonus. I don't even think I can get this thing out of here. I bought this quick release thing for $8 at Harbor Freight, and now I know why it was $8, because it's total garbage, and it's not quick release because I can't get this out of here. But this is dull enough, I might be able to run these. Yeah, somewhere I have something that's better suited for this. Bam! Tell you what, air chisel for the win on that one. We got a nice nugget. Okay. Let's go get the scale set up. We'll weigh this and see if it was actually worth it. Okay, we're gonna weigh up all the bits. We have what we're going to call an electric motor, the prepared steel, cast aluminum, and number 2 copper. So let's go ahead and start with the cast. 9 pounds. So that's 2 pounds on the bucket. We got 7 pounds of cast. Let's throw this motor on top. I think what I'm going to do is actually pull the rest of that copper out. When I torched that, some of it just disappeared. It might be on the ground over there. 42.5 pounds, okay? So we're gonna do the numbers on that. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be worth more as an electric motor, but we'll find out. Here, get it close, and then what we'll do is we'll get it here. And pick this end up. Roll it in there. Wow. 265 pounds. That weighs more than you. And almost as much as me. And then the number 2 copper. This is what we're here for. Dag. 53.5, so that's 51.5 pounds of number 2 copper. Okay, we're gonna muscle this big rotor onto the other one. 172 pounds. Still weighs more than you. All right, now we got the number 2 copper. There was a piece of plastic. We'll just call that like a pound. 35.5 minus the bucket, so we're at 30, 33, 35. So this is, we got 35, so 33. And this is the extras. 38, 33, so another 5 pounds at 4. So an extra 20 bucks worth of copper in there. It didn't take me that long once I figured out the process, and if I would have had a more blunt driver, we would have, I would have gotten that out a lot easier. But hey, I mean, 5 pounds of copper is 5 pounds of copper. So 38, 36, 36.5. Okay, so I'm going to run the numbers on that, and then we'll see where we're at. Okay, here's the numbers for those two rotors. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have the stators to go with them because we would have made some decent money. Okay, so that first one was 365 pounds. I paid 35 cents a pound, so I paid 127.92 for that. There was 7 pounds of cast. I get 66 cents a pound, $4.62. There was 42 pounds of electric motors. Now, I'm in another video, which me and Dakota are about to do. We're going to pull the copper out of that and see which way it would have been better. But as it stands, that's what we would have got, $12.60 for that. Prepared steel, $265 at 10 cents, 26.5. Number 2 copper, 51 pounds, $3.98 a pound, 204.97 for $248.69. I paid $127.92. We almost doubled our money at $120.77 profit for that. Now, if you think about that, I only made 55 bucks on that 600-pound electric motor. Okay, I've always said generator stators is where it's at, man. The rotors usually have more copper than the stator. So we made 120 bucks just on that one. So as it sits now, between that and the big motor, we're at $170 profit on the $300 or $400 something that I put out of pocket. Now a small one, 170, it was 208 pounds, 35 cents a pound, $72 I would have paid for that. 172 pounds at 10 cents a pound for the steel, $17.20. Number 2 copper, 36.5 pounds, $3.98 a pound. 145.27 for 162.47. I paid 72. We gained $90.47 breaking that down. And I mean, once I was, now you got to always realize, man, I'm sitting here making videos, I'm setting up cameras, I'm trying to get you guys good content. If I'm just blowing this out and I'm just focusing on it, man, I can knock these out quick. I'm geared up for this. This is what I do. So $90, if it took me an hour to do that one, I would have made good profit on it. If it took me an hour to do that one. Now, I'm pretty sure I can knock both of those out if I'm just getting it, not yapping my mouth. I could knock both of them out in an hour. You know, we could have made 200 bucks an hour right there. So, so that's a, what, 100 or 210, 260 something, almost 270 bucks on that load with that big motor and these. And like I said, once I'm dialed in where I got my 3 stations, a cracker, a splitter, a puller, the motors are going to go fast. I mean, we should probably have done all of that in an hour. With the proper setup, that could be done in an hour, no problem. Now the rotors, how that's going to go with getting the copper out of that and whatnot, it kind of varies on each one. You know, one was easier for me to cut the end off and get in there. The other one was easier for me just to cut it right there. I don't know. It's gonna vary. But we have a nice chunk of copper to start with. Dakota's over here tearing down some other stuff in another video, actually. So we're gonna pull some motors. We got some more rotors and electric motors, generator stators, plus all the copper that's still on there. I think we're gonna be on track to get $1,000 of number 2 copper by the end of the night, and then whatever else we have around here, we're going to load up, go to Miami tomorrow. I got to meet with a dude about a pump. One of the subscribers says he's got a pump just like that he wants to give me, but it's way down south. I have a customer down that way, so I'm going to try to schedule everything together. Maybe I'll take you guys on a road trip and go meet one of the subscribers. Guy comments all the time. He's been emailing me for months about that. I've just been so busy, haven't been down that way. The guy seems like a cool dude. He's been holding on to it, and I basically said, come get it. I can have it for free. So then I won't be transferring back from there to there. We can dedicate that back to the transformer press, maybe put a newer pump here or keep the newer pump over here. I don't know. We'll have to get it here, figure it out. But any case, we're just going to keep on pulling some copper. Actually, we got to take a break, go take care of the animals. We're going to use Dakota here to wrangle up some steers. And then we're going to be back on the copper. So stay tuned, because The copper mayhem never ends over here. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard.
Dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before?